A passing front means roller coaster temperatures. I have the newest timing for Friday flurries, rain over the weekend, and the Arctic blast that comes with it.
A councilwoman responds how she says the town of Cary came to pay for her tuition and how she says it relates to the current town manager's suspension.
And no deal reached. Health insurance rates could double or triple for millions of Americans if Republican and Democratic leaders cannot come to an agreement on Affordable Care Act extensions. What today's vote means for nearly 1 million North Carolinians. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Rowe. Let's start with what's happening right now at 7. The systems you see here on the map heading our way could bring flurries to our area. Mike, we just got a round of winter weather. Is this round 2 for real?
Yeah, but it's not going to be that impressive whatsoever. We've been saying all week that there's a potential for flurries in our northern counties for Friday morning, and it still looks like it's on target. There is 3 a.m. We see clouds increasing across the area. That little blue lobe you see is the warm front that comes through, and with that, there's a little band of flurries that could bring a light accumulation perhaps to southern Virginia on elevated surfaces. At 9 a.m., you see it in Roxborough, Oxford, over toward Henderson. At that point, it starts to move to the north, and the model suggests it could change over to rain by noon. There are other high-resolution models that keep it snow at that point. So what we're watching for is a quick band of flurries, maybe some light snow as well. If there's any kind of accumulation, it would be on elevated surfaces, perhaps in Virginia. And take a look at the probabilities for an inch of snow. It's 10-20%, so this is not going to be a big deal. The other big deal is the big temperature drop. There's an Arctic air mass coming our way, and Sunday will be a dramatic change. We could go from our high Sunday at midnight to 26 by Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. That is a huge change. I'll show you what other impacts come along with that coming up.
Ooh, okay, Mike. We want to talk about a big national story with a huge impact on our area. It's looking more and more likely that people with health insurance through the Affordable Care Act are going to see a significant increase in their premiums next year. Today, the Senate failed to agree on a solution. Remember, this was the central issue behind the 43-day government shutdown that ended less than a month ago, the longest shutdown in American history. Democrats made a deal with Republicans then, agreeing to end the shutdown in November if they got a vote on ACA tax credits in December. And here we are. The Senate voted on 2 plans today. Both failed. We're walking through the details in a moment, but first let's set the stakes. We spoke to a soybean farmer who told us today if the tax credits are not extended, her premiums will go from about $500 a month to around $2,000 a month, a crippling increase. She tells me she has no idea how she's going to budget for this. And she's one of 24 million people nationwide who get coverage through the ACA, about 1 million in North Carolina. Ending the credits, the subsidies, could increase premiums by 114% on average. Extending the tax credits could add up to $350 billion to the deficit over 10 years. No matter which path you take, a huge expense falls at the feet of Americans. Do you cancel the enhanced subsidies or tax credits and price people out of health insurance? Or do you keep them and run up the debt? That's the debate in front of Congress. Now, back to the 2 plans in front of the Senate today. The Democrats proposed extending the ACA tax credits for 3 years. 4 Republicans voted alongside the Democrats, but it wasn't enough. The vote was 51-48, and the bill needed 60 votes to pass. The Republicans proposed a different plan. Get rid of the credits, get rid of those enhanced subsidies, but do something else instead. Send HSA payments to people on high-deductible plans for the next 2 years, up to $1,000 a year for people up to age 49 and $1,500 a year for people age 50 and up. Once again, the vote was 51-48. It failed. Now, we should mention, Republicans had other ideas. This HSE thing was really just one that made it to a vote. Remember, when the White House floated the idea of a 2-year extension for the subsidies, North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis said he would support a short-term extension. He said, quote, "It's too complicated and too difficult to get done in the limited time that we have left." There are similar proposals in the House offering a 1-year or 2-year extension with limitations, but so far, those ideas just haven't stuck. Josh Hawley, a Republican senator from Missouri, voted in favor of the 3-year extension and in favor of the HSA payments. He put it this way: "We've got to do something." Well, we got nothing out of the Senate today. And now the House is up to bat. They plan to vote on a health care bill next week. Of course, we will be watching. What else do you want to know about the debate on Affordable Care Act subsidies? What did we miss here? Send an email to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. We really do want to hear from you. And this is one of those topics that we get so many emails about. We read all of them, truly. Tell us what's on your mind, and we will talk about it here at 7 o'clock. Speaking of which, it's time for a good question we got from a viewer named Cindy. She wrote, "Why was the Cary town manager put on leave? There are many rumors about him, but what is the truth? Lori Bush supposedly repaid the town for her master's degree. Why? What is the story behind this?" All right, Cindy has a lot of good questions. So let's start with that last one about Lori Bush. She's the mayor pro tem for the town of Cary. And it's true, financial records show that the town paid $37,000 toward her degree at Northwestern. They also show that she paid the town back in full. But let's get to Cindy's question. Why? What's the story behind this? WRAL's Heidi Kirk went through a trove of emails that could lend us some answers.
Financial records show that the town paid tens of thousands of dollars in tuition payments for Lori Bush's master's degree. Now, for the first time tonight, we're hearing from her as to how she thinks that happened. This email shows that suspended town manager Sean Stiegel was the first person to suggest Bush to take the classes at Northwestern University, calling them, quote, interesting, and saying that he thought of her when he saw the one-year program. Now, Bush says, and those emails confirm, she did not request the tuition support, but she says, quote, after confirming with the town manager, HR, and legal that tuition reimbursement was permissible, I accepted the offer with the honest belief that it aligned with the town's approach to ongoing learning. In her statement, she goes on to say, quote, I acted in good faith and followed the guidance I was given. I also recognize that the communication around this was not what it should have been. She has since reimbursed the town in full. Now, of course, this all comes as the town manager remains on leave. Worth noting, Bush says there is no connection between the tuition miscommunications and the town manager's current suspension. We will have more on all of this coming up tonight at 10 and 11 o'clock. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Cary.
All right, so I want to go back to Cindy's email from the beginning of this story. She asked, why was the town manager put on leave? There are many rumors about him, but what's the truth? Cindy, I feel it. I feel your frustration. We keep bringing that question to the town of Cary. We still don't have an answer, but I'll tell you, we are working on it. And when we get that answer, we will let you know. What other good questions do you have for us? Anything about this topic or anything else? Send us an email to 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Tell us what you want to see on the news. We read your emails. We try to get back to as many of them as possible. And, of course, we talk about it here at 7 o'clock. FEMA must promptly take all steps necessary to reverse the termination of the BRIC program. That is your quote of the day, part of a federal court ruling today. The BRIC program stands for Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities. This program provided more than $200 million worth of projects to protect North Carolina's infrastructure. In April, FEMA canceled this program. They called it wasteful and ineffective. Today, a judge ordered them to bring the program back, saying FEMA had violated the rights of Congress to appropriate funds for specific purposes. And that money, the $200 million, did have some very specific purposes. For example, $7 million was set to relocate a pump station in Hillsborough, taking it out of a floodplain. This is the same pump station, by the way, that flooded back in July when tropical storm bands swept through our area. That knocked out water to thousands of people. And sure, the relocation would not have happened in time to stop that. Yes, we've received feedback about that. But what about the next storm? That's the whole point of the BRIC program, to prepare, to prevent future disaster. State Attorney General Jeff Jackson sued FEMA over this, and barring an appeal, he won. Hillsborough's mayor texted me, writing, Hillsborough looks forward to learning more about the details of the ruling in the days ahead and moving forward with our BRIC projects as soon as possible. No timeline yet on when their pump station will move out of the floodplain. This whole thing really delayed the process, but we will, of course, keep an eye on it. All right, let's get you caught up on some of the other headlines today. Here are 5 things you should know right now. Raleigh police say a third victim has come forward saying they were assaulted by a nurse at UNC Rex Hospital. Investigators think there could be more victims. Brian Alvarez Ortiz made his first court appearance today. He's accused of sexually assaulting patients while they were sedated. He has since been fired. His license has been suspended. Ortiz's next court date is scheduled for December 31st. Investigators say they found a car linked to a decades-old missing persons case. The Nash County Sheriff's Office recovered this 1992 Pontiac Grand Am submerged in water near Old Middlesex Road and Turkey Creek. It belongs to Travis Lynch, who was first reported missing on Christmas Eve, 2003. Investigators are looking at the new evidence with the help of the FBI. Prosecutors will not file charges after a deadly stabbing at North Forsyth High School. Investigators say this all started after a fight between friends over a THC vape pen. The DA says the 18-year-old who survived the stabbing was trying to wrestle the knife away from his friend and had the right to defend himself. Students will return to class tomorrow. Today, drug manufacturer Novartis broke ground on its $700 million expansion in Durham. The facility will bring in 700 new jobs. The company is also opening a new facility in Morrisville. In all, the state expects Novartis to grow the company by more than $3 billion. And right now, the annual tree lighting ceremony is underway at the state capitol in Raleigh. There they go. They turned it on. The event features luminaries and holiday music before that beautiful Fraser fir got all lit up. This year's tree is from Western North Carolina. A sheriff versus the most powerful Republican in the North Carolina legislature. It's a primary showdown that sounds kind of like David and Goliath, and the GOP is worried the story might end the same way. Phil Berger versus Sam Page, the Senate Majority Leader versus Rockingham County's sheriff. President Trump endorsed one of them and offered a job to the other. So why is he getting involved? We'll unpack that after the break. And stick around for the end of the show. The NC State men's soccer team is in the Final Four, their most successful team in 30 years. We're talking title chances in tonight's One Last Thing. Mike?
Actually, it's looking like the dead of winter at Beach Mountain. All the folks doing skiing, they're making snow there. When it feels like the dead of winter here, it's in the forecast coming up.
There's quite a stir inside the state Republican Party, and it's big enough that even President Trump is involved. New tonight, we learned the man challenging Senate Leader Phil Berger in a primary took a phone call from President Trump. And then there's the GOP whip who left a note at his door. I caught up with state government reporter Paul Spey about his exclusive reporting and why this race is one to watch. Paul, what was first interesting was that President Trump is weighing in on a state Senate race. You know, usually you see him weighing in on congressional races, but a state Senate race?
Right. He throws his weight around in some of those higher level federal races, but he does occasionally get into the state level races. Not often. You're right. It's rare. But in this case, you know, Senator Berger had led the charge to redistrict North Carolina's congressional line. So there's sort of a tie there to the federal races. Just a couple months ago, you know, Republicans hold 10 of North Carolina's 14 congressional seats. Since they redrew the election map, now Republicans have a chance to pick up an 11th. It's not necessarily a surprise that Trump would want, you know, a loyal person there.
So he's a reliable politician for the Republicans, especially in the state. And it's not just President Trump who wants him to maintain this seat. There are other legislators who want to make sure that he maintains the seat.
That's right. We had an exclusive story just last night where the majority whip, her name's Amy Galey, drove from her home, Alamance County, to Rockingham County and knocked on Sam Page's door. Now, Sam Page is challenging Berger in this race. He's been the sheriff for 27 years, so he has a lot of name recognition. And Page didn't come to the door. He wasn't home, but she left this 2-page letter saying, please don't run. It actually says the word beg in there. I respectfully request, please, I'm begging you, do not run. If you run, it'll drain resources from the Republican caucus that they could use otherwise. Whoever wins this primary will more than likely win the general election. Instead, you know, Galey's argument was if Page runs, then they will end up spending money on a Republican instead of spending it on Democrats. And we asked Page, what does he think about this argument? What did he think about Gailey's visit to his house? He didn't like it very much. This is what he told us.
It was totally inappropriate. Come to my house uninvited at night, like I've said, with the whole purpose of trying to circumvent the will of the people.
Let's get back to President Trump. It wasn't just on social media that he was endorsing Berger and discouraging Page from running.
Right. So the day after Gailey knocked on Page's door and left that letter discouraging him from running, Page filed, and then he got a call that night from President Trump. And Trump explained the situation, and it sounds like he told Page that he was going to endorse Berger in this primary. Page didn't tell us what job he was offered in Washington, but he did say that, Trump made him an offer to come to Washington. So,
but he's digging in his heels. He is going to run. At least he's committing to that today.
That's right. And he wanted to follow through on that commitment to the residents of Rockingham County.
We'll see what happens. Thanks, Paul. Sheriff Page has until December 16th to unfile his name in the race. If you want more of this coverage from the NC Capitol team, just head over to WRAL.com or the WRAL News app. All right, we got to talk about this swing in temperatures.
Yeah.
Of course, what goes down must come up and the other way around. Beautiful picture here from Durham.
Yeah, and 38, it's cold, but wait till you see what's coming on Sunday.
Right.
You need to break out the heaviest coat you have, the warmest clothes you have. Get ready for Sunday night and Monday. 38 right now. It's a look at the Festival of Lights over the DBAP. Looking pretty nice this evening. Cold already at Southern Pines, 36, 32 at Rocky Mount, 34 at Roxborough. And again, as we said at the top of the newscast, watching for some flurries in our northern counties in the morning. Grant Skinner will be here covering that. So hour by hour, here's how we cool down. Not a whole lot tonight because cloud cover will increase through the night. So only bottoming out perhaps around 29 to 30 here in the Triangle. So it's not going to be really dramatically cold like it will on Sunday. So Saturday, looking at the potential for 57 here in the Triangle, maybe 60 in Fayetteville. That'd be a nice bonus for the weekend. Then our Arctic front comes in on Sunday, 42 the high at midnight. Then the temperature crashes, winds gusting 35 to 40 miles per hour. There could be some sprinkles in the afternoon with the passage of the front. Then on Monday, 38 the high, 16 the low. Jet stream buckling, really depositing some Arctic air in the eastern part of the country. Temperatures will fall throughout this day on Sunday, and of course it will be windy. Highs topping out in the 30s and 40s. The coldest morning will be Monday with lows in the low teens. Now, again, as I showed you at the top of the newscast, the forecast high on Sunday coming at midnight. The Arctic front moves through, and it's dramatic cooling. And as the cold, dense air comes in, it will displace the air that's in place, and the winds will really start to roar. Again, could gust as high as 40 miles per hour, and by 6 o'clock in the evening, we could be down to 26 here in the Triangle. That's what all the models are pointing to. So by Monday morning, these are the forecast lows. The coldest air since January 23rd, 12 at Roxborough, 16 in Raleigh, and that's what we had on January 23rd. And if we do reach the teens, that'll all be the third time this year we've had teens for lows. We've kind of like had a teen drought, so to speak, for our winter this past year. 16 in Fayetteville, 16 in Goldsboro. Forecast wind chills in the single digits, feeling like 8 in Lewisburg, 9 in Sanford, 9 in Raleigh, 10 in Fayetteville. Brace yourself for an abrupt chill in the morning on Monday, and then later in the afternoon it will be bright and cold with highs rebounding into the 30s, and that rebound continues for the rest of next week. So it's 42 for the high Sunday at midnight, falling as we go through the day, 16 the low, 38 the high, 23 Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon mostly sunny, 49. Perhaps near 60 on Wednesday, should be in the 60s by Thursday, 65. And actually, the American model that I looked at on Christmas Day has it at 75.
75 on Christmas Day.
Not to say that that will probably happen, but that's the potential.
Wow. Okay, from 16 to 65, though, next week. Yeah. Quite the time. Okay, Mike. Hey, this is the best year for NC State soccer in a very long time. They have a shot at the championship, and they're playing right here in the Triangle. Here, one last thing right after the break. One last thing. The NC State men's soccer team has advanced to the Final Four of the College Cup for the first time in 35 years. And they'll get to play close to home. WRAL's Luke Nostein found out how they got this far and what makes this season so special.
The The NC State men's soccer team has advanced to the College Cup, soccer's version of the Final Four, for the second time in program history and the first time since 1990. One thing is for certain, this team is ready for the national spotlight, and they get to play close to home in Cary.
Honestly, it's something we've been working for all year, and the fact that it's in Cary, it's like, I'd say it's a huge advantage for us. And also all our fans, alums, they have the chance to come.
This team has become one of the best in the country this year, and they've proven their stature by making it this far in the NCAA tournament. Not only are they playing for school glory, but also to represent their families.
Every game I go play, like, it's an opportunity for me to show myself, and I'm not just playing for me, I'm playing for my family and my country too. So it's kind of put my country on the map, kind of put my family name out there, and then I know, like, these guys are going to be behind me no matter what.
The Wolfpack have won 15 games this season, making it the most single-season wins that North Carolina State has recorded since that 1990 season, when they also made a magical run to the College Cup.
Teams know that they need multiple goals in order to beat us. We have the best offense in the country, let alone an absolute lockdown defense. Like, teams will scramble if we go up 1 or 2.
Senior goalkeeper Logan Erb will give his game-worn gloves away to young fans after games. It's something he never thought would have the impact that it does in the community.
NC State will take on St. Louis Friday night at 8:30 from Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary. Luke Notestein, WRAL Sports, Raleigh.
And we are cheering for them all the way. Thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL. Have a great night.
Watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.